The callers on this show, unbelievable. It's brilliant. It's exactly what we want. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin O'Neill. We are live on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Whether it's Manchester City, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's Everton, whether it's Rangers, Celtic, whatever. It's currently Tottenham, and the calls are flying in. We've been putting it to you this morning. Tottenham have been accused of being a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde side under Ange this season, beating City 4-0, but losing home to Ipswich, being examples of their extremes, if you like. So ahead of the Fulham game, Ange claimed that everyone will miss his attacking style of football when he's gone. And what do you know? They draw 1-1 with Fulham, and some of the Tottenham fans boo them off, reportedly. I find that strange. I don't know if you do, Kate. Big Tottenham fan. Kate, good morning. What do you want to say?
Good morning, gents. Hope you're all well.
Good, Kate.
What I wanted to say was this isn't a new thing. This isn't a Postecoglou thing. If you Google Spurs inconsistency, it goes back. You see Conte talking about it. You see Pochettino talking about it. There's something inherently wrong with the mentality at Spurs. Harry Kane said when he left, if you lose a couple of games at Spurs, it's no big deal. If you lose a couple of games at Bayern, it's a massive deal. There's no desire to win at Tottenham. For me, you know, Daniel Levy's renowned for wanting top four. I know Simon, you know, is a bit of a Daniel Levy sympathiser, and I'm not putting it all on Levy, but I think there needs to be some sort of sports psychologist or something going to Spurs, either that or a voodoo priestess to take this curse away, because there is something inherently wrong with the mentality at my club, and it is so frustrating.
I think you're probably right, but I think the real issue is the kind of players that you buy. And the kind of players that the funds that are made available allow you to buy. What Ange Postecoglou can't do...
Well, it's on Daniel, isn't it?
Well, of course, that's going to be my point. It's on most football clubs how much there's only a few football clubs that are spending inordinate amounts of money. There's probably about 3, 4. Spurs spend a decent amount of money. If you want to be a Premier League winner, they're going to have to spend more money and get a different calibre of player. You buy players like James Maddison, who are very technically gifted players, but I don't think he'd get in Man City's side. I don't think he'd get in Liverpool's side. I don't think he'd get in Arsenal's side. And these are the teams that are potentially going to win leagues. But he'll get into Spurs' side because he's technically a very good player.
Kate, you know how Ange has got his steadfast beliefs. Of that, there is no doubt. Are you with him on that?
Look, I respect the man. I think to have those sort of beliefs, and the football he plays, when it's played properly, it's beautiful. But I think sometimes he has to find that middle ground. You know, if you're winning, like at Brighton, you're 2-0 up, don't be gung-ho in the second half. Shut the door, you know, and win that game, get it over the line. So I know he does tweak it, but sometimes I think he needs to be a little bit more pragmatic just to get us the points. But... you know, I know it's not his way, but I think he'd die by the sword, unfortunately.
It's a really good call, Kate. Thank you for that. Paul, big Tottenham fan. Good morning, Paul. Wait, what's your take on all this, on Ange's steadfast beliefs?
Yeah, good morning, guys. For me, it's I think Tottenham are very much like Brentford in terms of, I was just looking at the last 7 games, and Brentford and Tottenham have done the same thing in terms of it's a win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, draw, win, loss. We do the same thing, and I think it is. I am an Ange fan, and Thomas Frank is also brilliant. But I think they play one way; they've got one way, and there's no plan B. And it's if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, then you get the win. And I think that's where we're coming unstuck a bit. And I went to the Roma game on Thursday, and I could have told you as soon as we went 2-1 up, we were sleepwalking into conceding, which we did late. Back in the past, I had a season ticket when we signed Edgar Davids, and people were like, why'd you sign him? He was old, but he was a leader. We also bought a guy called Nelson from Blackburn at the back. I didn't understand it until I sat and watched. He was a leader. There is no leaders there. The game management is poor. I just think that we can't see a game out, and I can see why these results are so inconsistent.
Let's ask Martin about that, Paul. I mean, as a manager, Martin, is it always important to have a plan B? Is it an absolute must?
And well, I sometimes wonder what a plan B is, really, and at what moment do you implement it? This is the interesting thing: is do you wait? Eventually, all right, I'll tell you. Eventually, plan A and plan B and plan C are determined by the result of the game. That's what happens. It's as simple as that there. Using substitutions at a certain given time, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But even the very, very best managers will say sometimes that the best way to have a plan B is stick to plan A. That sounds really crazy. Or do plan A better.
Well, let me put
I've
you
never
right in
been
the
sure.
spot,
Right.
Martin.
Please.
Say you had Tottenham at the Etihad and you're 2 up. Do you stick or do you twist? Ange twisted and won at 4.
Well, you say you twisted, but there's a number of things that happen during the course of the game. You're leading 2-0. Suddenly, the team your opposition are trying to press to try and get a goal back in the game. They're going to leave gaps, and you can score another goal in that time, and that means that you've been pressing on with what you believe in. There are other times in matches. I defy any manager with 3 minutes to go in the final of a European Cup. In the final of a European Cup, where they've got a goal kick and they're going to play it out from the back with 3 minutes to go and they're leading in the game. I'm telling you, the goalkeeper's going to take, as the Porto men did in 2003, sorry to bring that up, you spend 5 minutes taking the kick and then you'll know whether it's pragmatism or not. The point I'm making, in an exaggerated fashion, is this here. There are times to play the game, there's times to sit in and then take teams on the break.
What about what Arteta did at West Ham?
What?
At the weekend, 5-2 up. 5-2 up at half-time.
Yeah.
Now, many Arsenal fans would want to leave the London Stadium having won it 10-2.
Well,
but they sat back in the second half. Controlled possession.
And they won the game 5-2.
Different approach, though.
Well, it might be a different approach. I don't know.
That was plan B.
Well, are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm assuming.
Right. Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Well, the opposition might have played a part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the whole point. Plan B. So there's only one manager. There's only one team's allowed to plan. What about the other ones? That old great phrase that Mike Tyson had. Everybody's got a plan to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
See, you forget about these. The whole point. Let's say Arsenal did. Let's say they sat in but broke on them and scored a sixth goal within 49 minutes or 55 minutes or something. Do you not think they might go on and try to get the 7th or 8th after that there? They've done enough to win the game at 5-2. If that was the policy of the manager, and I don't know this, if that was, then he's won the game.
But what
and
is
he's
your
happy.
philosophy? Because I thought what you said a moment ago was the most interesting part of it all, and I think it's the most adept piece of analysis, which is do plan A better. Was that your philosophy? Because ultimately, structurally, you can change the shape of a team to react to the circumstances of what the opposition are doing to you. But is it a case of what your team's best capabilities are? You set them up in the best possible way that you can. And ultimately, is it a case of this media characterisation like Bazball for cricket and plan B for football? Is it a simple case of do plan A better?
It can be, Simon. Let me put it this way. There's a couple of things to that there. First of all, if you have belief in your team and you know what the team can do, and you're having a really stodgy 10 or 15 minutes,
back yourselves.
Do you do one of two things? Do you back yourself? Do you say, or do I make a go and make a change? You don't know. Again, the result determines whether you've made the right decision or not. I'll give you an example. Much to my, shall I say,
chagrin.
Yeah, even worse, embarrassment. We played Chelsea. I've got really good Aston Villa side. We were down at Stamford Bridge, and we're losing 4-0 at the time. I have a really good side. We're going to be playing them in the semi-final of the FA Cup in a couple of weeks' time, and we're really flying. It was our last season. And defensively, we've been pretty strong. I've got a lot of decent players going forward, and we find ourselves 4-0 adrift. John Robertson, my assistant, John, great player, John, and a very, very good assistant. John said, Martin, rein in, pull it in now. Listen, the game's gone.
Yeah, let's not
the
get big
game's
7-8,
gone.
yeah.
I said, John, the game's not gone. It's not gone. We've still got a chance. We got beaten 7. Right. So John was absolutely spot on. I couldn't see it because I thought, go on. We'll get something back in the game.
Yeah.
So my whole point. You've made the point, Sam. You're absolutely right. What is it? Sometimes plan A is not working, but you have the belief in the players that you think you can pull out of this 10 or 15 minute period. And there are other times when you think they're just dogged, they're not there, and I will have a plan B, like making different substitutions.
Okay.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.